Hi, today we're going to be talking about the miracle question and scaling questions. These are both really easy and powerful tools that we can use in solution-focused therapy. And again, like the other topics we've discussed, they can be used by therapists or paraprofessionals or behavior aides. It really doesn't matter who's implementing them as long as the family is understanding that they can gain their strengths from it. So we'll start by talking about the miracle question. Basically, the miracle question involves asking a family to just imagine the possibility that the problem will not exist. And you can do this by simply saying, suppose one night while you're asleep, a miracle occurred and your problem was solved. What would be different? How would you be different? How would your family be different? By asking these specific questions, you get them thinking about what it would be like without the problem, what it would be like to not be so controlled and organized around this problem. And that is the goal here, is to get them thinking about those possibilities. The miracle question really could be used at the very beginning of therapy so that you get an idea of their thoughts about the problem and how they're organized around the problem. But really, you can use it at any stage in therapy to get them thinking about these possibilities. Again, the miracle question can be used by anybody, and in fact, it's really important that different people with IFI do ask the question, because the more the family is exposed to the idea that, hey, this problem doesn't have to be here, then maybe they'll start to believe it too. Scaling questions are the other tool that we're going to talk about this week. And scaling questions can be used in conjunction with the miracle question. Basically, scaling questions allow the therapist or parapro to assess where the client or the family stands on a particular subject. For example, depression or anxiety is a lot of times hard to describe how they're feeling. You're either depressed or you're not depressed. So by asking scaling questions, you're basically quantifying or assigning a number to the feeling that they have. So, for example, 1 would be not depressed at all, 10 would be very depressed to the point of wanting to kill oneself. You would ask a client where they feel like they fall on that continuum. If they answer a 5 or a 6, then that gives you an idea that their depression is pretty severe. And then you can use it as a baseline. And the next week, ask them how they're feeling after they've had a week of relaxation or journaling or whatever interventions that you put in place. And the idea and the hope is that that number will continue to decline. You can use it in conjunction with the miracle question by asking them the miracle question to imagine life without the problem, what it would be like, how it would be different, and then ask them to assign that number to what life would be like once that problem was solved. And that will help them see the difference. That right now, the problem makes it a 7 or an 8, but if the miracle occurred, then it would be like a 2 or a 3. And so basically, you want to ask them, how can we move you from that 7 or 8 to that 2 or a 3? And exploring all those possibilities that lie in that continuum. So again, scaling questions can be used at the beginning, middle, and end of therapy, and in fact, should be used regularly to assess where they're functioning. You can use it on an outing, for example. Let's say you have a child that's really dealing with social anxiety. You can ask them before you leave, how are you feeling about going to the skating rink or wherever the community outing you're going on? And let's say they answer a 7 or an 8. And so we talk about doing breathing, we talk about doing visual imagery, whatever it is that's going to relax them and make them be able to socialize in an appropriate way. And then throughout the outing, ask them how they're doing. What number are they at now? And try to continue to bring them down. At the end of the session, you can ask them how they're doing. And hopefully they'll be at an even lower number. But if the number does go up, if the anxiety starts to increase, then you can also use that as a tool and help them see that try to get to them to explore what was going on at that time to make that number increase. Was it something within them? Was it something they perceived from somebody else? So doing these kind of questions can really shed a lot of light on the problem and where it originates and also what keeps it going. So miracle question and scaling questions are 2 that you can really work on this week. And the idea here is to use them as often as you can. So it's okay if all 3 of you guys on one team are doing the miracle question with the family. The more we expose it to them, then they're able to explore these possibilities more and more. And that's the hope here. So, next week, we're going to talk about externalizing and how that goes right hand in hand also with these questions. So, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.